My name is Maisie. To most people, I'm just an average high school student, but when I'm singing, I feel like I can conquer the world. And today the world was definitely on my side. I had just walked out of the school gates, wearing my headphones and skipping home like a little kid, because I had just landed the lead role in our musical club's next play. I was so immersed in the music that I didn't notice someone stepping out of the alley near the school gate. I slammed right into them and fell onto the pavement, my headphones sliding off my head. Before I could even apologize, a girl started shouting at me. She asked if I was blind and accused me of acting like I was too special to watch where I was going. I looked up and froze. It was Kira, the mean girl from my musical club. We usually stayed in our own lanes since she was a dancer and I was a singer, but she never missed a chance to criticize me. She would always tell me that I sounded like a screeching cat or fingernails on a chalkboard. She didn't wait for an answer before she stormed off, leaving me kicking the air in frustration. But then I spotted a wallet on the ground. I picked it up and looked around, realizing I was the only person there. I opened the wallet, hoping to find an ID card to return it to its owner, but there was no student card or license inside. Instead, I found a strange old photo of a house and several VIP membership cards for some very fancy places, all under the name Sophia. I was about to head to the police station when I noticed a ticket peeking out from the cash compartment. My heart nearly stopped when I realized it was a VIP ticket to see Franz Ferdinand tonight. That was my most favorite band in the whole world. Suddenly, my feet stopped moving, and I felt conflicted. My conscience was screaming at me to do the right thing, but how could I walk away from a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity like this? If this was a test, then I was about to fail. I tried to justify it to myself. Even if I took the wallet to the cops now, they wouldn't be able to find Sophia before the concert started anyway. It seemed like a total waste to let such an awesome ticket go unused, so I made a bold decision. I would go to the concert on her behalf and hand the wallet in later. Problem solved. I didn't waste another second. I hurried straight to the venue, and the moment I stepped inside, my jaw hit the floor. This was easily the biggest stadium I had ever seen, and I was buzzing with excitement as I found my VIP seat. Just as I was waiting for the show to start, I heard a voice next to me, asking if I was Sophia. I turned to see a gorgeous guy smiling at me, but I knew he didn't really mean to approach me. He'd just mistaken me for the owner of the wallet. Before I could find a way to explain the awkward situation, he continued, saying he was glad to meet me. He introduced himself as Roman, and mentioned that his parents had arranged this meeting because they both admired the band. I realized then that I should have foreseen this. People rarely go to VIP sections alone. Luckily for me, it appeared that Roman had never met the real Sophia before. I figured I could pretend to be her for just one night. As we waited for the show, I discovered that Roman was not only cute but also a talented musician who had recently moved back from Italy for college. He told me that his and Sophia's parents arranged this meeting because Sophia was a gifted singer, and they wanted him to help her career. Talking to him felt so natural that as soon as the concert began, I was singing and swaying to the music alongside him, completely forgetting that I was living a lie. The excitement from the concert stayed with me all the way home. That night, I went online to dig up more info on Rome. I gasped out loud when I saw his SoundCloud account had over 200,000 subscribers. Not only was he handsome in a modern James Dean sort of way, but he was also a legitimate artist. I was daydreaming when my phone rang. It was a text from Roman. He said he had a great time and invited me to a small welcome home party at the Madison Club. He mentioned hearing that I was a regular there and hoped I'd join them. I almost couldn't believe my ears. The Madison Club was one of the most expensive country clubs in the state. The initiation fee alone was enough to make anyone's head spin. I rummaged through Sophia's wallet, and sure enough, there was a VIP membership card inside. Even though I felt a wave of guilt for continuing this lie, I couldn't resist the chance to talk to Roman again. I promised myself this would be the last time, and then I would definitely hand the wallet in. But then there was still a problem with my wardrobe. I couldn't show up to a place like that in my mediocre outfit. I needed something that looked both demure and expensive. After checking the cards in the wallet again, I spotted one for the Crystal Lane Mall and decided to see if I could find something there. The next morning, I walked into that exclusive mall with every penny of my saving. However, I quickly realized how outclassed I was when I saw a tiny dress with a $5,000 price tag. The only thing I could actually afford was a sparkly hairpin. I gritted my teeth and took it to the counter, handing over all my cash along with the membership card. To my surprise, the staff didn't just give me the pin for free. They also gifted me a beautiful designer bag. Apparently, it was Sophia's birthday. I felt terrible enjoying these perks in her name, but since the bag was a freebie, I told myself it was okay to keep. The following day, I wore a simple but pretty dress with my new bag to school, planning to head straight to the party afterward. When my best friend Anna saw the bag, she gasped in disbelief, jokingly asking if I had sold a kidney to buy a Chanel. I just laughed and told her it was a gift. Just then, Kira and her group showed up, and of course, they couldn't help but glue their eyes to the shiny bag. One of her friends shouted, asking where I got a limited edition VIP bag and accusing me of carrying a fake. I tried to pull Anna away to avoid a scene, but she was already mad on my behalf, so she snapped back, telling them it was 100 funcham authentic and a gift from my rich boyfriend. I felt my stomach drop. Anna was just trying to help, but she was making the lie even bigger. Kira didn't believe her at all. Kira sneered and challenged me to call this boyfriend to pick me up after school, or she'd tell everyone we were liars. Seeing Anna's expectant look and Kiera's smug grin, I had no choice. I couldn't let Anna look like a fool, but I couldn't let Kiera win either. At the end, I texted Roman asking for a ride. I wouldn't have to introduce him to anyone else. All I needed was for Kiera's group to see him, and that should be enough for them to believe the act. Roman replied immediately, saying he'd be there. After school, when I stepped out of the school gate, a shiny car was waiting. Roman stepped out with a smile and opened the door for me. I didn't need to look back to know Kiera was fuming. I felt pretty confident that she wouldn't be looking down on me anytime soon. I didn't say anything to Kiera. I just smiled at Roman and got in the car. My heart was racing the entire time we were on the way. Roman was incredibly charming, chatting away as if picking me up was the most natural thing in the world. When we pulled up to the Madison Club, my jaw nearly hit the floor. It was even more lavish than I had imagined, with marble columns and chandeliers everywhere. Since we arrived early, Roman invited me to the small stage in the corner. He sat at the piano and asked me to sing while he harmonized. Being immersed in the music with him felt incredible. By the time we finished, a crowd had gathered, and the room erupted into wild applause. Since we arrived early, Roman led me to a small stage in the corner of the lounge. He sat down at the grand piano and invited me to sing a song while he played. I hesitated for a second, but the music was too tempting. I started singing and he joined in to harmonize. The moment felt magical. By the time we finished our performance, I realized a crowd had gathered around us, and the room suddenly erupted into wild applause. One of Roman's friends shouted that we had angelic voices and were a perfect couple. I turned to Roman and saw him smiling fondly at me. He said he knew his parents told him I was good, but he had no idea I'd be that incredible. I could feel my face heat up, so I quickly excused myself to find the bathroom to calm down. The place was so huge that it took me a while to find the bathroom. Once I was in front of the mirror, I took a deep breath. My heart was still thudding like crazy. This whole night felt like a dream, but the guilt was eating me alive. I knew I couldn't keep this up. I had to tell him the truth before things went too far. I returned to the lounge to find Roman talking to a girl whose back was turned to me. Our eyes met, and he waved me over, saying he'd just been chatting with my little sister. Panic surged through me. He meant Sophia's little sister. I was about to confess everything myself, but then the girl turned around. My blood ran cold when I saw her face. It was Kiera. We both gaped at each other in shock. So Kiera was actually Sophia's sister. I thought she was gonna expose my lie right then and there, but instead, she quickly made up an excuse to leave, not forgetting to shoot me a nasty sneer when she walked past me. I stood there, baffled. Did she really just leave without making a huge scene? The next day, I brought the wallet to school, determined to return it and end this mess. I looked for Kiera everywhere, but couldn't find her. Finally, when the last bell rang, I got a text from her telling me to meet in the alley behind the school. I nervously arrived at the spot and saw her waiting. I immediately held out the wallet and apologized for not returning it sooner. But to my surprise, she didn't even take it. She just glanced at it and pushed it back toward me, hissing the word thief. I tried to defend myself, explaining that I didn't steal it. I just found it by accident and always intended to return it. But she cut me off, demanding to know why I used her sister's name and cards if I was so innocent. I tried to explain, but she interrupted again. She said there would be no more excuses. Unless I wanted everyone, including Roman, to know I was an identity thief, I had to do exactly what she said. Her demand was that I had to pre-record my voice for her to lip-sync over it at the city's upcoming singing contest. I was so confused I thought Kiera was a dancer, not a singer. Before I could question her, a voice from behind called out to Sophia, startling me. I turned to see Roman beaming at me. My heart sank. He would be devastated when he found out I'd been lying to him from the start. As if she could sense my fear, Kiera smirked and whispered for me to remember our deal. She mockingly called me sister with a cruel glint in her eyes before walking away. Later that day, I was at Roman's studio. He had just finished a new song and wanted me to record a demo. The guilt was suffocating me. I couldn't do this anymore. I started to tell him that I wasn't who he thought I was, but he interrupted me, excitedly showing me a poster for the upcoming singing contest. The same one Kiera had mentioned. He encouraged me to give it a try. I shook my head sadly and told him I couldn't. When he asked why, I couldn't bring myself to say I had to help Kiera lip sync. So I just made up an excuse about having a family commitment that day. When I got home, I knew there was only one way to stop this web of lies from destroying my life. With a heavy heart, I blocked Roman's number. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. On the day of the contest, Kiera made sure I was there, dragging me along like a safety net. But she wasn't acting like her usual arrogant self. She was pale and fidgety, clearly terrified. When she stepped onto the stage, things started okay, But disaster struck during a complex dance break. She went for a spin and completely mishandled the grip. I watched in slow motion as the microphone slipped from her hand and clattered loudly across the wooden floor. Kiera froze, staring at the fallen mic in total horror, but the speakers didn't get the memo. My pre-recorded voice kept blasting out the chorus, hitting a perfect high note while Kiera stood there, mouth closed and hands empty. The room went dead silent. The illusion was shattered instantly. Then the shock wore off, and the awkward murmurs began to fill the hall. Everyone knew she was faking. I heard a man sitting next to me mutter in a disappointed voice that she had brought more shame on the family. I realized with a jolt that this was Kiera's father. The woman next to him, presumably her mother, just shook her head in boredom. Suddenly, a staff member approached them to whisper something. Their faces turned pale, and they rushed out of the auditorium. Seeing them leave, Kiera burst into tears and ran off the stage. I felt a pang of sympathy. Kiera might be mean, but no child deserved to be treated like that by their parents. I was about to go check on her when a hand pulled me back. It was Roman. He smiled and told me it was my turn. Before I could process what was happening, the host called me to the stage by my real name. I looked at Roman, feeling both shocked and confused, but he just grinned, wished me luck, and handed me a mic. The music started. It was the song Roman and I had sung together. I took a deep breath, pushed aside any doubts, and sang my heart out. When I finished, the judges gave me a standing ovation, and the audience cheered wildly. I walked off stage feeling like I was in a dream. Backstage, I asked Roman what was going on and if he knew who I really was. He admitted that he had figured it out ages ago. Apparently, me not knowing where the restrooms were at the country club was a dead giveaway. He had done some research and found out I wasn't Sophia. But because he liked me, he pretended not to know. He had also overheard Kiera blackmailing me, so he decided to register me for the contest himself. But right now, I was more worried about Kiera. We searched around and found her sitting outside, sobbing. I told her not to worry about the contest, but she shook her head. She said she wasn't upset about that. She was crying because her sister, Sophia, was missing. Through her tears, Kiera revealed the truth. Their parents had always pushed them to pursue music. Kiera loved dancing, but Sophia was the gifted singer, making her the favorite. No matter how many dance contests Kiera won, they overlooked her. When she got the lead dance role in the school play, they ignored it to praise Sophia instead. Out of jealousy and frustration, Kiera had thrown away Sophia's wallet, the one I had found. Kiera confessed that she had entered the contest solely to beat Sophia in front of their parent. That was why she had blackmailed me into the lip-syncing scheme. But things had spiraled out of control. She told us that Sophia had found out about the plan the night before, leading to a huge argument. In the heat of the moment, Kiera had screamed that she wished Sophia would just vanish from her life. When she woke up that morning, her sister was actually gone. With Sophia's turn to perform coming up and no sign of her, Kiera was terrified that she might never come back. Roman and I did our best to comfort her, and we immediately set out to find Sophia. Kiera led us to all of Sophia's favorite hangouts, but she wasn't at any of them. We were running out of ideas when I suddenly remembered the old photo tucked inside the wall. I pulled it out and showed it to Kiera, asking if it meant anything. Her eyes widened in recognition. She explained that it was their family's old house. The place where they lived when they were little. We didn't waste a second rushing over there. Sure enough, we found Sophia sitting alone on the front steps, looking lost. Along the way, Kiera had been telling us about how furious their fight had been, and she was worried that Sophia was still mad at her. But the moment the sisters saw each other, all the anger evaporated. They ran into each other's arms and sobbed like little kids. As they talked through their tears, the full truth finally came out. Kiera admitted she had always been jealous of the attention Sophia got, but to our surprise, Sophia revealed that she didn't have it any easier. She felt suffocated by their parents' constant pressure to be perfect, and had actually felt guilty for years because Kiera was always overlooked. Seeing them finally understand each other, I decided to offer a little advice. I told them that you can't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. I encouraged Sophia to embrace her singing if that was her passion, but I also reminded Kiera that she was an incredible dancer and shouldn't be afraid to pursue what made her happy. In the end, everything worked out. Sophia and Kiera made up and finally stood up to their parents. They won the freedom to follow their own path. Kiera focused entirely on her dancing, while Sophia formed an indie band like she'd always dreamed of. As for me, I definitely learned my lesson. Next time, lost property goes straight to the cops, no exception. But this crazy adventure taught me something even more important. I used to think I needed a fancy name or a VIP card to be special, but I was wrong. Roman fell for my voice, not the name on the ID. And I was able to help those sisters, not because I was pretending to be rich, but because I actually listened to them. It turns out I didn't need to be Sophia to find a happy ending. Being just Maisie is actually pretty amazing.